This is Tubey Magman, an abomination of science that will act on our behalf as we explore the world of inZOI. In this video, we will be following the first week of his life as he navigates the streets and people of 𝙃𝙀. And yes, I know we're a bit late to the inZOI party, but cut us some slack. We're not one of those big fancy channels with their early review codes and schmancy editing teams. No, everything here is homegrown. But if you'd like to assist us on our quest to sell out, feel free to drop a like and subscribe because, we asked nicely. Anyway, Tubey's journey begins with the 3 humble hosts of middle-aged gaming. And as we know, 3 is a great number for a variety of reasons. It's prime, it gives us the best shape, an awesome dinosaur, the Holy Trinity, the Lords of the Rings trilogy, the number of platforms on a winner's podium, and there's even a rule of 3, which I broke when I made this list. But what 3 cannot do is be parents. Well, technically, science tells me it is actually possible to have a child with 3 parents if one provides the mitochondrial DNA, but sadly I don't own a micropipette, so that is not an option. Instead, that means we are going to have to turn to AI. But don't worry, we're going to use AI responsibly and for its originally created purpose: complete and utter nonsense. But we do have 2 problems. Problem the first. Most programs combining faces for the sake of predicting offspring results in something a bit younger than what we're looking for. A lone toddler crawling the mean streets of 𝙃𝙀 doesn't seem like an optimal play experience. Problem the second, most programs only allow you to input 2 faces at a time. So, to fix the first problem, I instead opt for standard face blending AI. But we still have that tricky 3-parent issue. So to try to smooth it out as best I can, we're gonna go with a family tree. Antoine and I will make up one grandparent, Krian and myself will make up another grandparent, the result of that will make one parent, and then Krian and Antoine will combine to create the other parent. It's not perfect, but the result is beautiful. So we begin the molding process, which is actually quite robust. Admittedly, I did find clothing and accessories being in separate tabs a little bit jarring, but overall, we are met with success. And lo, he has inherited my impeccable fashion sense. Well played, grandson. Well played. So we enter the city, and our first order of business is housing. Trying to save time, I just opt for one of the default options. It's small, but it gets the job done. Plus, we can always upgrade later. So that now out of the way, let's get Tubey accustomed to his surroundings. So we take him on a little walk and meet some of our neighbors, try out the local public transportation, explore a bit, and head home to find a job, which is a little bit more difficult than I had expected. I figured it would be pretty easy, go on the computer and check out some one ads. But that's not an option, so instead we're gonna do some video editing. A YouTuber's progeny indeed. However, after a bit of random clicking around the UI, we discover the career app on our smartphone. And what's this? Adam Entertainment? Well, it is meant to be. So now Tubey is employed. Great! But work doesn't start until tomorrow, so we muck about the house for a bit and eventually head to the park because, well, we have an appointment there. For some reason, I'm not sure. And I must say, Tubey has some mad respect for traffic lights. Dude will not jaywalk. Anyway, we arrive at the park for our appointment, and yeah, we have no idea why we're here. There's nothing going on. So instead, Tubey takes a page from his ancestral playbook and tries chatting up a lovely young lady who is way out of his league, and somehow pulls it off. Good to know that the family tradition lives on. Papa's proud. So he takes his newfound love on a date. They go to the park, they exchange some romantic words, they hang out together individually. Tubey ends up losing his date and has to run around the park looking for her. Thankfully, he finds her, and overall, it actually goes pretty well. So it's off to bed because we've got a big day of work tomorrow. It's a fresh day, and Tubey is off to work. And much like many first days, he has no clue what he's doing. But that's okay, because, fake it till you make it, right? Clack away on a computer, try not to fall asleep during a meeting, chat up a few idols, tell them they look pretty, typical work day. Work done, it's back home where we decide, it's just facing the wrong direction. Bad feng shui. So we rotate the house and struggle to understand how building fences work. We eventually figure it out, but let's just say construction in this game is not intuitive. A tutorial would have been nice here, but life doesn't have tutorials. Done with renovations for the moment, it is time for bed again. The next day is basically the same. Wake up, eat, head to work, clack, clack, clack away, and it's time to head home. But you know what? It's Tuesday, the perfect day for karaoke. So Tubey calls up the girlfriend and tells her to meet him there. Turns out her house is along the way though, so he decides to stop by and pick her up, and surprise, surprise, she has roommates. 2 of them. 2 young male roommates. So it seems Min-jung is a single mom. Strange that we had to find out this way, but hey, that's the kind of thing you break out on a second date, and technically we've only had one, so, Anyway, it's off to karaoke, to which Min-jung never shows up because she has food poisoning. So it's really just Tubey screeching away in a drywall cubicle as the sole employee cleans the floor in a clear indication that they want to go home and we're the only reason they're still here. Ah, the perfect Tuesday. But all good things must come to an end, so it's back home to bed. Wednesday rolls around and Tubey makes good use of his time at work fraternizing with the boss, who seems to be getting the wrong message. Thankfully, all conversations feel hollow though, so unrequited feelings have little bearing on anything, and Tubey manages to just talk about fast food all day. Success! He's made many new work friends. And in the evening, Tubey calls over the girlfriend, who comes over and then immediately turns around and heads home. So he heads over to her house where he finds her 2 boys eating dinner separately, and she's nowhere to be seen. So instead, he just goes back home and goes back to bed. Thursday goes pretty much the same, but this time she actually stays over, and things go well. So of course she immediately heads home afterwards. Friday happens. It's finally Saturday, and time to propose. For many, a week may seem a bit rushed, but 𝙬𝙧s live fast, die young, and apparently become ghosts due to the karma mechanic, which I have yet to see how it matters. He spends the morning getting ready to pop the question, but then it happens. Min-jung calls, asking us to meet her. So we arrive at the agreed upon spot and spend a farewell trying to find her because apparently appointments actually mean nothing in this game. She does eventually show up though and completely ignores us. So we chase her down and pop the question. The wedding will be held this very day. Which was apparently a very bad choice because both Tubey and Min-jung haven't eaten all day, and the wedding venue, well, doesn't provide a catering service. So to stave off death for the 2 of them, they spend the entire occasion frantically sipping coffee to keep hunger just enough at bay to survive the joyous occasion. And wedding over, it's time to move in. Ah, but right! Min-jung was a single mom, and that means the whole brood is moving in too. And Tubey's place just isn't going to cut it. We need to renovate. I have no idea what I'm doing. So we pack everything we need into a tiny, tiny space. It works, but it's embarrassingly obvious that I'm no interior decorator. True to life, it's less house and more nest. But I've been watching a lot of those home renovation shows with the wife, and I know that while it might be the way I decorate, this is unacceptable for other people. So I'm going to fix this. I have no idea what I'm doing. So a satisfactory living space is finally complete, and Tubey is now sharing occupied space with his new family. To celebrate, he takes his 2 new stepsons to the park where they play side by side, alone. Is this his journey's end? For now. So overall, I enjoyed my time with inZOI, but it does still have a ways to go. It's got great bones and beautiful skin, but there's just something lacking when it comes to heart. Maybe it's the way the conversations feel hollow, like going down a checklist of topics. Maybe it's the way many interactions are done side by side independently rather than together. Maybe it's the way relationships feel more like filling a bar and less like having any actual bearing on their interactions. I don't know, something just feels ever so off, but not in an irredeemable way. The game is early access, and I can say it does feel early access, but that said, I did enjoy my time, and who knows, maybe I'd feel differently if I wasn't playing on stream, you know, when I can move at my own pace rather than trying to pack in a bunch of content. At any rate, I'm not deleting the game off my hard drive anytime soon, and I do plan to come back as they roll out updates. Will I be sticking around for the long haul? Time will tell, but until then, hope you enjoyed this video, and feel free to comment on your experience with inZOI because we'd love to hear them. And while you're there, feel free to like and subscribe for more of our content in the future. We look forward to seeing you there.